Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mad Dragons vodcast. An honourable loss for the Dragons against the Panthers. The positive spin for this game is that we took on the Panthers, the defending premiers, the premiership favourites, and the team that was by a long way the most impressive team in round one. We were forced to play a quarter of the game with just 12 men, and we still only lost by 4 points. This was Norm Proven tribute game, and despite the loss, do you think the players did Sticks proud, Tony?
Oh yes, for sure. They had a great game. Couple of players a little below par, but the rest of the team played well. Forwards went forward. The halves done their job. Amane was a bit quiet, but he's still learning.
Mad Dragons Player of the Year voting is generating some great discussion. And our first viewer question actually comes from Paul Hatchell. I was going to ask Joe this, but I don't know if his audio is actually working at the moment. But
it's working.
Joe, are you there?
Yeah, it's working now.
All right. Well, I'll ask you Paul's question because you were the most bullish on this bloke. Jaden Sewer got voted as the best on ground by the Mad Dragons vodcast panel. Every single one on the panel, except myself, had Jaden Sewer getting the 3 votes. Paul wants to know, how does Sewer get those votes with missing 6 of his 15 attempted tackles and getting sin binned, which he says cost us the game?
Post contact meters, attitude, drive. With no Jaden Sewer, we'd get flogged. Making those tackles when it mattered. What did he miss? A couple of little antsy ones. Now, they're by far our greatest forward that we've signed in years. I haven't been as excited about an edge back rower, second rower, since the days of, what's his name? Jeremy Smith. Since Jeremy Smith, yeah. I haven't been this excited.
And his sin bin was bullshit anyway.
Well, that's exactly right, Tony.
The tackle was 1.4 seconds after he passed the ball.
No, it wasn't. It was zero. It was like 0.4 seconds or something. Like it was. It was below human reaction time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Sometimes, can I continue to answer that question? So, sometimes it's not all about stats and numbers. It's also about attitude. Do you agree with that or not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If Jaden Sewer doesn't play, we get flogged by 4 tries.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I thought he was far and away our best attacking player. He was absolutely fantastic when we had the ball, but to miss 6 tackles and only make 9, I think as a second rower, that work rate is piss poor. I can't give him man of the match based on that. So I still gave him a point because I think he was their best attacking player. He was an absolute weapon when we had the ball. He was damaging and he had some aggression in defence. So it wasn't all bad defensively, but I'd like to see a bit more work rate from a second rower defensively, and you've got to make your tackles. So, you know, I was the only one that didn't give him the 3. I still gave him 1. I still think he was a very important player for us and amongst our best. And I don't think too many people would argue with that. One of the other blokes that did get some votes that I found, I actually found this one staggering, was Moses Mbai. I thought he was pretty ordinary. I actually had him. It was only Zach Lomax making 6 errors and a pretty piss poor performance from Andrew McCulloch that kept him from being our worst player on the field. But Matty, you had him as our second best and gave him 2 votes. Take us through what you saw that I didn't from Moses Mbai.
Look, I just think he had an impact when he came on. Immediately our attack just looked that little bit better. His service at dummy half is way beyond anything that I think McCulloch is capable of. In fact, when McCulloch comes back, depending on how he goes over the next couple of weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually gets left in there at dummy half, and maybe Connor Mulhausen comes on, it was the 14. I don't think he's intrinsically a better dummy half than McCulloch.
I agree.
McCulloch gets it done in defence better than anyone, but in attack, he's not the sort of number 9 that you need in the modern game.
McCulloch struggles with direction and struggles with creativity. Mumbai offers a lot more creativity in attack.
And he's too slow.
That's right.
Yeah,
I
but
agree.
Hook's focused on defence. So McCulloch's going to get it over Ambai every day. Where I think it's silly, and I've said it before, I think we should be focusing on our attack. We've got firepower across the field, and having somebody like Ambai or Hunt at 9, which would obviously be preferable, it just gives us so many options in attack. And I think that's going to be the key to our season. And like Joe's alluded to before, it's like the Tigers, back in the day when Benji's glory days, just you can make stuff happen out of nothing. And with the guys we got on the field in attack, it's just going to be magic. But Hook's so focused on defence, so I can see there's going to be a real struggle in the coaching with that. So, but we're only fans, so who gives a shit what we want?
I tend to agree with the comments on Andrew McCulloch. I think McCulloch cost us that first try. Like in the first couple of sets, his slow service from dummy half, he just seemed to be waiting half a second before giving it to Hunt. And the first time he gave it to Hunt, Hunt was like, I have to run the ball because I don't have time to get a kick away. Gave it to Junior. We got tackled, giving great field position to the Panthers. And then the second time, Hunt's like, well, I've got to try and get a kick away here, and got charged down and the Panthers scored. So McCulloch put us under a lot of pressure there. There's some other factors, like the service was shit, but also Ben Hunt was probably a little bit flat, and Junior's got to be in a position where he can be a secondary option. He's got to be an alternate kicker.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's just standing there flat next to Hunt.
He's got to do what Terry Lamb used to do. He's got to back up. He's got to be the best backer-upper in the game. And then his game will fly. He'll go so good if he does that.
Well, I'll say this to any Dragons fans out there. Go and have a look at the highlights of Junior Amon on YouTube from when he was playing junior reps. And most of his highlights are from him just pushing up and being there and backing up and being that fantastic support player. Was always there, always pushing up with players that were dangerous. Guys like Tyrell Sloan, who features a lot in the highlights as well as Jaden Sullivan. And he did that a lot coming through the junior reps, whereas there's a lot to learn when you're going from playing under 19s footy to playing NRL footy. And I kind of feel like he's trying to take it all in, trying to do everything the coaches tell him to do, and he's stopped playing footy a little bit. And sometimes it's not about being in the right position all the time. You've got to do what got you to the NRL. So I'd like to see him.
Yeah, that's right.
Back himself a bit more.
Can't change him.
Do you think Hook's got in his ear about that and maybe said that's not how I want you to play at this stage?
I don't doubt that. I think that's a very strong possibility, and Hook's known for doing that with young players. He wants to simplify things for them. He doesn't want them thinking about too many different things. But well, yeah, Dufty's a good example. I remember last year when Jaden Sullivan was playing 9, he was told not to kick. So there's different things like that where he takes different responsibilities away from players to, I suppose he feels that it's going to free them up and allow them to do 2 or 3 things well, rather than trying to do everything. But I think at the moment, what he's taking away from Junior Ramon are his strengths. So it's not helping him at all.
But I think it's what you alluded to as well, like in his highlight reel, it is that combo with Sullivan, with Sloan. Like that was our money ticket. Coming into this season, when we found out that all those boys were getting signed on again, we're like, sweet, they're going to get these combos happening. And obviously, through Hook's coaching and whatever, however it's playing out, it's not working out that way, you know. So maybe with McCulloch out and Bud coming back off injury, you know, he might get into the mix again and they can get some of that stuff happening. But you know what I mean? Like when you don't have your two best mates by your side, you know, when you're so used to having those combos, you're going to play a different brand of footy. You're going to have to because you're relying on other people and other people that you might not necessarily have the combos going with. So it's teething problems. Like, you know, it's gonna evolve over the season. They're gonna find their strengths. They're gonna settle into, you know, good partnerships, and it's gonna pay dividends. You know, coming towards the end of the season. Like, I'm super excited about how the year's gonna pan out. Like, it's been two games. Yeah,
it's a great point that you raised there in terms of the combinations and how they're going to develop over the course of the season, and it's something that I noticed actually. I think it was in our round one game against the Warriors where Tyrell Sloan is always like he knows Junior Ramon, so you know they're always together. But I found that Tyrell was actually working with Ben Hunt quite a lot in that game, and there was one point in that game where Ramon stepped off the right foot, went through, got his arm free, and Sloan normally would have been there. In the under-19s, he would have been off his shoulder, he would have given it straight to him and it would have been a try, but there was no one there. And I again wonder if Hook is trying to develop that because he's already got the combination with Junior. He's trying to develop it with Ben Hunt so he can have threats on both sides of the field. And then Junior can bob up anywhere and be a lot more threatening rather than only having that combination with the six. So it might be a long-term view that Hook's got to try and make us more dangerous. So it might be something that'll frustrate us a little bit now, and we'll look back down the track and go, Jesus Christ, that Hook's a genius. So
it made sense.
Who knows? Anyway, Mick, welcome, mate. Before I ask the next question, I just want to welcome you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I can hear you well. G'day, boys.
There you go.
Hi, mate. What's going on?
Hey, Mick, how are you, mate?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, as you guys know, I was there. Bloody good game of footy. I'll say I was really, really impressed. We may get into too many things that I didn't like about it because, you know, that'll get us all a bit offside. But, well, speaking of offside, no. The thing that I really liked about the game was that...
we actually haven't got into that yet.
Yeah. The thing that I really liked about that game was we were really on the back foot for a lot of the game, and our boys just really dug right in and playing the premiers. They should have really bashed us into the ground, and they didn't. And they only beat us by 4 points. So, you know, when you think about it, if the other clubs out there were watching that game, they'd have to be really worried about us. We had two guys off for 10 minutes each, so 20 minutes without two players. They only scored one try out of two guys being off. So, you know, the boys got cheered off the tunnel. Benny was there. I was there. And the cheer that those boys got going up the race, I've been to a few Dragons game, but I haven't seen that. Not after a loss anyway. With a win, yeah, you get it with a win. But with a loss, you don't get that reaction. Those boys were they would almost been cheered off the ground, probably on the fans' shoulders. They were that impressed. I was just so impressed. I can't believe actually what I watched.
It was awesome. And I think, like you said too, Mick, like the sentiment from all of the fans that were there was all the same. Like I didn't hear a lot of fans, you know, saying, oh, you know, like the boys were shit. They put in a crap effort. Like it was a shit loss. Like everyone was just like, you know, giving the boys support 100%. And like I said, as they were coming up the tunnel, everyone was, you know, giving them a round of applause and, you know, telling them to keep their chins up and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it was a real good vibe. Like I said, coming off a loss, it was actually a really good vibe. So
you know why the vibe was good even after a loss, because they gave us what we want. They showed us spirit. They showed us that that they're not going to just be bullied. And as fans, that's all we've ever wanted, because we know in reality you can't win every game. But if you turn up every week like this, we will win more than we lose, and we have a really, really good attitude. A good attitude in fairness in play, and that's all we ask for as a fan. Anyway, that's all I ask for.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, Donny, you
That's all
asked the
we ask
question
for.
earlier.
Effort.
That's right.
So, Donny, you asked the question earlier. Did the boys do Sticks proud? I'm going to answer that and say absolutely. In years gone by, with the the sin binnings and a few other decisions that sort of didn't go our way, previous years the boys' heads would have gone down, standing around with bloody hands on hips and all that sort of thing, and we would have got belted by bloody 30 or 40. But the fact that they basically stood up in that second half and said, we're not going to go away without a fight here. That's something I've not seen for a number of years. So I thought it was a very, very good second half performance, to be honest.
Against the premiers.
Against
too.
the reigning premiers, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I remember when Lomax got sent off, he came up the tunnel and like as he's walking through the crowd, he's going, "Come on, everyone, fire up!" Like he's really like he's going, "Come on, fucking give it to him!" Like he was, like telling the crowd to just get up and get.
Well, it's all about attitude, man. It's all about attitude.
Like it's just like the players I think they're really into it this year. Like
I'm fucking so excited about this year. I can't fucking begin to tell you.
He's the first one to swear.
I really
it wasn't me.
I really, if they have this attitude all year, I really don't give a flying fuck if we don't make the top 4 because I know we're going to make the top 8, and I'll be just so fucking happy and throw it in the face of these so-called experts that had us tipped for the spoon. When as fans, who, in particular our group, the vodcast guys, we really dabble in deep, and it's very rare you see a club out there in the world on social media that has a group like us, a bunch of everyday dads and mates who get together and just grabble on about their club and about their team. We know our team. Right. You go are never going to get the spoon, and we are the experts, not them, and they've proved it to us.
Yeah.
The last one on the Mad Dragons Player of the Year voting that did have a lot of people that disagreed with it was the overall player with the second most votes from the panel was Ben Hunt. Now, Benny, I know you gave Hunt 2 votes. Why did you think he was among our best?
Again, attitude. And I know everybody bases these points, especially for the Dally M and everything off what they do on field and their performance and how many tries they score and how many tries they set up and all of that. But as a Dragons fan, for me personally, I don't really consider that my be all and end all when I give my points. Attitude is so important. And even like I play in music, obviously I play in a few bands, but I've always had a saying whenever I'm looking for new members for bands that attitude trumps ability. Like 90% of the time. You could have the best guitarist in the world. If he's a fuckwit to work with, you're not going to hire him. You know what I mean? And Benny Hunt, even last year, he just tries his guts out. You know what I mean? And you can see the disappointment on his face when something doesn't work. You can see the elation in his face when something does work. Like he just tries his guts out, and I just love that about him. And there was a lot of times during the game where things didn't quite go right. And you can see him turn to the other boys and, give them a tap on the bum and say, "Come on, boys, let's get into it. Let's try this, let's try that." Like the whole game, he never gave up. And to me, that means a lot, as a fan. And, to me, that's why I gave him the 2 points. He never gave up. He tried his guts out. I don't think he really did anything wrong to not deserve points. So that's why I gave him the 2. But same reason I gave Blocker points last week. He just tried his guts out all game. He was where he needed to be. He did what he needed to do. He played his ass off, and you could see like he's got that mongrel in him. He just wants to get in and have a crack. And Benny Hunt's the same. Like he just doesn't give up. And I love that about him, his resilience and his drive. Like it speaks a lot to me, especially from your captain. Like if anybody on the field is going to have that attitude, you want your captain to have it.
You know what I love? You know what I love about that answer, Benny? Is that I gave Hunt two points as well, and I've got very, very different reasons for why I gave Hunt the 2, and I think that's absolutely perfect. Like you were at the game, you saw what he's doing around and you see different things when you're at the game compared to when you're watching on TV. But for me, I don't understand why people don't think he had a good game. He kicked a 40-20 that got us in great position. He kicked that perfect kick for the Tyrell Sloan try. Like that was absolutely phenomenal. That's a try assist. He ran for 154 metres And you look through our spine, and Ben Hunt's a lone hand in that game. Like Tyrell Sloan probably didn't have his best game. Andrew McCulloch went off injured early. Moses Mbai's a makeshift 9 trying to do his best. And Junior Ramon's trying to find his feet. Ben Hunt's a lone hand out there. And I thought he had a really good game. He tackled at 90% efficiency as well. So it was good, solid defensively, and didn't make an error. Like he had the charge down, which again, we've already spoken about and said that there's a few people that are to blame for that. But
Yeah, like
I thought he had a pretty decent
kick
game.
out outside.
Well, yeah, that helped Penrith as well. Maybe we could we challenge that? I don't know.
I don't know if you can challenge, well, unless the video ref picks it up. But that was,
It's hard. They're not going to have that wide angle, are they, to tell that he's off?
I'm telling you, but I was there, and Mick will attest to this. Kick out was offside 99% of the time. He was
Yeah,
at least a meter in front of the ref every fucking time. What do you do?
With every one good thing this guy does, he does around 4 bad. How many times did he knock the fucking ball on?
Yeah, that's it, eh?
And you know what's scary
Yeah.
with us talking about unforced errors and errors? Imagine our tackle, our completion rate in the first half. If it was only a bit better, it'd be like a case of what if, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of what ifs at it. I mean, whenever there's a close loss, there's always going to be a lot of what ifs. What if the ref wasn't a fuckwit and sent 2 of our players to the sin bin when neither of them deserved it? Like that's the biggest what if, isn't it?
Yeah,
100%. If we didn't get those sin bins, we would have been super close to winning that game.
and we
Under that
also
referee-
held the ball. If we also held the ball as well,
Yeah,
no sin bins, imagine we win against Penrith with that attitude.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Under
that's
that referee, we're about 26% win rate.
all. Oh, really, Tony?
Yeah,
Yeah,
something around that
yeah.
figure. Under Chris Sutton, we're 26% win rate under him.
There
It's
you go.
just a touch. Well, it's probably lower now because I don't think the game on the weekend was counted, but it was just over 30% going into that game. So, yeah. I mean, the 2 Suttons are the 2 referees the Dragons have the worst record under. And I don't
He's
know.
a fucking, he's a smug little prick, but
Oh, yeah, he is.
after the game, he was smirking as he's walking up the tunnel. I looked him dead in the eye and I said, "You're a fucking cheat."
Oh, really? Fucking
I had
shit.
to-
$10,000 fine.
My
$10,000
God.
fine.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
He's
Get
probably
me
a
reaction
Cronulla. He's probably a Cronulla boy, mate.
No, I don't know. He's a fuck me. That's all I know.
So,
Man,
yeah,
you're on it quick.
So did you get any reaction out of him, Benny?
Yeah, I did actually. He didn't really smirk at me. He sort of went, "Oh fuck." I looked at him, looked straight in the eyes, and I said, "You're a fucking cheat."
It was at that point he
I said
realised
to
he
my
fucked
son-
up.
But it's funny,
He's
like,
going to execute to get out.
today. But it's funny, like sort of like what Mick was saying, like even like the head security guard, like that's on the tunnel, that he pulls like the cage across and all that sort of stuff, lets people in and out of the player areas. Like I don't know if he's a Dragons fan or not, but like I'm assuming he is because he's at every game. But he was shaking his head at some of the decisions that the referee and the bunker was making. He was shaking his head. Like the Dragons officials were shaking their head. Even the bloody girl that organised the halftime entertainment, she was shaking her head, wondering what the hell these decisions were. So, like, even the commentators have come out and said that the decisions were, you know what I mean? Like, surely there has to be some onus on people.
Look, when Gordon Tallis comes out and says the referee got it wrong
Against us.
he's no fan of the Dragons anymore. That's when you know you've fucked up.
Yeah, as a ref, that's right. Yeah.
He hates us now, and even he said in not so many words, that was bullshit.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, he's gone on the record, and he has gone on the record of late and said that he doesn't hate us. For the record.
Oh, yeah. Well, on the record, he doesn't hate us, but off the record, yes, it fucking does.
Actions and words are 2 different things.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, we got about 3 minutes before we get kicked off here, but there's always going to be controversy and disagreements with voting, and that's why I love this Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year.
Yes.
So after 2 rounds, Jaden Sewer's leading with 27 votes. So despite the slight controversy around Sewer getting the most votes this round, I think it's fair to say that the early signs are that he's going to be a fantastic signing for us. Do you agree with that, Mick?
Yeah,
No.
but I voted 3 points for Sewer because his game this last week was 100% better than his game the previous week. He lifted his game so much, apart from the tackles, but he lifted his game in attack. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a 2-horse race.
I'll
Between
tell you what,
Sewer
I gave him
and
the
Hudson.
3. I gave him the 3 points the week before, mate. So I thought he was. I thought he was
yeah,
our
okay.
best against the Warriors. I thought he was absolutely sensational in that game, in both attack and defence, and I think he showed some real aggression. And I think most people gave it to Rava, and he certainly got the nod.
The first week, yeah.
Well, yeah, I think a winger really needs to score 5 tries and run for about 600 metres for me to give him man of the match. I'm not often going to give it to a winger.
Say that to his face, Donny.
He doesn't look like a winger of old, does he? He's a scary
doesn't.
looking fella.
He doesn't run like a winger either. Like some of those ball returns from the other night, like far out. He has absolutely no fear.
His runs.
Oh,
His runs remind me of Eric Grove of the 80s.
yeah, just tucks it under and just goes.
Power in his runs. Like, he hurt kick out 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Running the ball back at him.
Sorry, this one isn't on the agenda, but Tony, while you're going about Mika Ravaloa, when there is a sensational Fijian flyer at Parramatta, everybody's talking about him. Everyone's talking about how bloody awesome he is. They're still talking about Suliasi Vunivalu, who was only average. Like, I don't hear a lot of hype around Michaeli Ravaloa. Is that?
No. I think because he's a quiet guy. He's behind the scenes. I don't think he's outgoing. They're still talking about Ken Nagus and Noah Nandruku from Canberra.
Yeah.
Like, Rava should be up there with the Parramatta player. What's his name?
Mike Acevo or Semi Radradra.
Mike Acevo, Semi Radradra.
Well, g'day and welcome back to the Mad Dragons podcast. We just got kicked off Zoom. That happens quite regularly, so we're halfway through a conversation. Tony was having a chat about Rava, but I might throw to Benny because I know you wanted to pick up some points on Rava as well.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of Rava, as you know, and like you're saying, I think he doesn't get anywhere near the amount of credit that he deserves. Like even last year in the Melbourne game. The Fox got 2 tries and everyone's raving about it. And Rava got a hat-trick in the same game and didn't even get a mention. You know what I mean? Like there's double standards. And the tries that Rava scored this year have been brilliant. I think he's like, he's only a couple of tries off. I think he's like 17 tries for 19 games or something like that. It's like crazy. Like he's a weapon, but yeah, he definitely deserves more praise than he gets. But I think sort of like what Tony was alluding to, because he's such a sort of quiet, reserved sort of guy, they don't really go to him like that. Whereas,
that's right,
Fox and
he doesn't do many interviews.
No.
He doesn't. No.
He's not a wanker.
But I don't know that Mike. I don't know that Mike Acevo. I don't know that Mike Acevo or Semi Radradra or any of those guys did. None of them are outspoken, loud, abrasive. They're all humble kind of fellas, but like Rava just doesn't seem to get the same height.
Let's trot.
Yeah.
Let's trot. Trot. You want to trot? Let's trot. What a wanker.
Oh, you know what? Let's leave him to be the quiet achiever. I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah, well, if he keeps flying under the radar, we'll keep him on a low value contract and keep him with the Dragons forever.
Not if he watches this, he won't. He'll be like, those Mad Dragon guys said that I should be on more money.
He should be, and good on him if he gets it.
Yeah, 100%. Hats off to him, like from where he's come from to where he is now. And even not saying his own personal development, but even his rugby league career, from the amount of improvement he's shown over the last 3 years has been phenomenal. Everyone was writing him off when he first came. He was dropping balls. He was in the wrong positions. He wasn't as strong defensively, wasn't scoring as many tries. He has done so much work personally on the footy field and in training. He's come leaps and bounds, and he's just getting better and better. He's an absolute weapon. I just hope that he can stay injury free and maybe stay under. If he's going to fly under any radar, let it be the Bunkers radar this year, because we can't afford to have him on the sideline. So, keep him on the field. Happy days.
Wrap that arm around, Robin. Wrap that arm around.
That's it.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Boys, you still here, Donny?
Mate. I was just about to throw to you, mate. I know that your mic wasn't working before, so I understand you've got a few things that you've heard us talking about, and you want to chime in, mate.
Yeah, thanks,
like
mate.
Fullback chiming into the back line, Mick Foster. Here he comes.
Like I used to do 58 years ago. Well, not quite that far, but anyway. Look, I agree with everything. Pretty getting up there, mate. Look, I agree with everything Benny said. Ravalawa, even my wife at the game, who really only follows the Dragons because of me and comes to the footy because of me, doesn't really sort of pay too much attention. She actually said to me, "Who's that guy? He works his ass off." Now that's my wife. She said, "Who's that guy? He works his ass off." And I thought, wow, she's bloody well right, because he caught every single bomb. I don't know why they keep kicking to him, because he doesn't drop them anymore like he did bloody 2 years ago when he didn't know where to put his hand into. He catches every single kick, and like you said, Benny, he doesn't run the ball back like he's a bloody winger. He runs the ball back like he's a front rower.
Yeah,
he launches into people. He doesn't, and you see when he gets a ball on the burst, he doesn't try to sidestep someone like Brett Morris would do, or Nightingale, or some other winger who would actually try to step around another winger. He just goes into people. He's got no idea of sidestepping. He goes, "Get out of my way," bang. And he's actually probably one of the best players we have in the team at the moment. And like you said, Benny, we've got to hope that the other clubs don't notice him, don't think about him, and he just does his thing, and everyone just pisses off, leaves him alone. And we've got a very good winger on our hands if he decides to stay with us, because he's a damaging player. He's probably he'd be in my top 3 best players in the club right at the moment.
Oh,
without a doubt.
He's my kid's favourite player.
And as you said, Benny, the work that he would have had to have done from when I remember the first 4 or 5 games he had from us, the Dragon pages were lit up. Piss this guy off. He's a wanker. He's freaking useless. Get rid of him. He would have heard all that. He would have heard it, mate. I don't know anybody that's saying that anymore. No one's posting that crap anymore.
We also said that about Ramsey, and we've changed our tune.
Yeah, I didn't.
Some of us have.
I was Ramsey from the very beginning. Come on, but Donny, let's go.
I was going to say that's a nice segue right there. Yeah, we want a nice clean fight, right? No dirty stuff, no elbows. So just keep it nice and clean, boys.
Yeah. Look, I'll say this, Donny. Okay, he doesn't do the workload that Ravalawa was doing. One, because they're not kicking to Cody Ramsey for a start. They're kicking every single kick just about to. They used to kick to Ramsey, but now every kick is going to Ravalawa, which is actually pretty stupid, if you ask me. One, he catches everything, and he's bigger, and he runs over people. So if I was an opposition coach, you don't kick it to Ravalawa, you kick it to Ramsey, who's really not the strongest bloke on the field. But Ramsey, even now, he can actually defuse bombs pretty well. When he first came for us, he was falling over. He was over his head. He didn't know where to go. He couldn't catch. He was useless. But now, I believe that he's actually worked on his game. And when they do kick it to him, how many bombs has he dropped? Well, even if it's only 2 or 3, he doesn't drop them. He catches them. And as you say, he might only make 1 or 2 tackles, but the 2 tackles that he makes, they're often important tackles, because other guys have missed them. And if they get around Ramsey, it's over. but Ramsey gets them. So when you say Ramsey's not really important, I don't really agree with that. Personally, I don't agree with it.
I never had a problem with Ramsey taking bombs. You kick a bomb up, and if it's a contested bomb, it's 50-50 every single time. It doesn't matter if you're Jason Saab or Daniel Tupou or one of the best bomb catchers in the world. It's a 50-50 go when it's contested. So when that happens,
of course.
And occasionally he would lose the contest. And I think Dragons fans were way too harsh on Cody Ramsey for losing a couple of 50-50 contests. He still took bombs, and he does that part of the game well. He doesn't make a great deal of mistakes, but you say every kick goes to rubber, which is fine. Every kick goes to rubber, but there are no other wingers that run 40 metres a game. There were no other wingers, no other regular wingers in the NRL who average 70 run metres per game. None, because it's not acceptable. It's not good enough to be an NRL winger and average 70 metres a game. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but he doesn't do enough. What is his role in the team?
But you got to get the ball. Surely,
go and look at the ball like every other winger in the comp, Mick. Every other winger in the comp goes looking for the ball and gets it.
Yes, Ramsey isn't going looking for the ball, but if he's not going looking for the ball, we've got to say, well, why isn't Ramsey going looking for the ball? Now, one, Joe brought it up before, which might be a reason why you'd say, well, was he in the team? He's not built big enough to get the ball and go crashing into people. That's not, Ramsey would get smashed if he tried that crap. That's probably one reason why he doesn't do it. And if it's not a reason why he's not doing it, I think that's one reason why he doesn't do it. But if he's not doing it, why isn't Griffin, who is the coach of the Dragons, not me, not any of us blokes sitting here with our own little ideas. It's Griffin to say, hey, Cody, every other winger goes looking for the ball, mate. Get off your ass and help your forwards go looking for the ball. Ramsey doesn't do it. So there's got to be, it's good. It can't be Ramsey's fault that he's not looking for the ball. Because if it was his fault, the coach would kick him in the ass and say, get your ass in there, mate. Help your forwards get the ball. He doesn't do it. So personally,
I agree with that.
That's not Ramsey's fault. That's Griffin's fault.
I agree with that.
And when I say it's Griffin's fault, Griffin's got a reason why he hasn't told Cody. Because if Cody Ramsey is being told to do it and he's not doing it, then Hook would stop picking him. He'd say, mate, you're not doing what I'm saying, get out. But he keeps picking Ramsey. So Ramsey, number one, must be fulfilling his duty to whatever Hook's told him to do, which I believe. I mean, I'm only going by what I'm watching Ramsey do. The fact that Ramsey doesn't go looking for the ball, I agree 100% with Joe. He's not looking for the ball because he gets smashed. He's not big enough. But he's good enough as far as Griffin's concerned to have him in the team. He diffuses the bombs. He makes good defensive tackles, even if they might be 3 a game. But often I've seen Ramsey make 2 tackles a game where those 2 tackles save tries. If he misses those tackles, that guy's off, he'd score. So, Ramsey's the winger. Either we've got no one else better than Ramsey.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. I think that we don't have enough options on winger to afford for him to get injured. That's what I personally think. And that's why I think Hook might be telling him not to overexert himself and risk injury. Because somebody's got to be picking up the slack. If he's not doing it,
I know what Connie's going to say.
Because I'm telling you now, like, Ramsey is stronger than you think.
I was
watching him defend, on Friday night, and he is a super strong dude. Like, he's manhandling guys.
Yeah, I agree.
Tackles. Like, he's a strong guy. So I don't think it's a fact of him not having the physical attributes or ability to take on the line. I think that Hook is trying to keep him a little bit safe because we don't have options there.
Sorry, mate. I actually agree with everything that Mick said just then. I think, like, if you look at the meters that our centres made, Moses Sully, Zach Lomax, they both ran for close to 140 metres each, which is more than most centres will do in a game. So they're the blokes that are getting back there and doing the work that the winger for every other team does, because Cody Ramsey's incapable of doing it. But my question is, what is Ramsey's role in the team other than standing out on the wing, being a 1980s winger being a bloke that actually plays with footballers but isn't one himself. And he just stands there and he waits for Moses Sully to create an opportunity for him because he's the guy that's got some speed. Like, what is he actually bringing to the team?
Well, I think you'd have to ask Griffin that question.
Well, I think it sort of alludes back to what we said before. Who do you put in? Who do you replace him with?
We've got Matt Feeney, who's still playing, and when he played last year, when Matt Feeney played last year, he averaged about 120 metres a game, there or thereabouts, and so he is capable of playing that role and doing that. I think he's a better option than Cody Ramsey, and we've got Moga, who's got a lot of experience as well. He's another big body out on that wing. He probably does. I don't think Tauto's got the speed that we're looking for out on that.
Not anymore, no.
But I think Matt Feeney's pretty good there, speed wise.
But I think we're looking at it from our point of view. Whereas if we put Hook's hat on, he wants a super solid defensive player in there, and that's exactly what Ramsey is. He's super solid defensively. He's strong. Yeah, he cuts the ball down, and all. There's no second phase play. He's great positionally. He knows where to put himself. He knows how to use the sideline, which Rabbit doesn't. So defensively, that is the number one option for Hook. And we can say whatever we like, and it means fuck all because Hook's going to keep picking him because he's the best defensive player we have.
Well, I don't know what the rest of you think, but I think Mick wins on a points decision here, so we might move on.
Just before we do, I'll just say that to answer your question pretty quickly, why is Ramsey in the team? I think another reason why Ramsey's in the team, because if another centre makes a break, Ramsey's got the speed to pick him up. And the other thing about Ramsey is Donnie said, Ramsey's bloody strong. He might look like he's strong, but he's strong. Because I've actually seen, even last year, a couple of players from other teams make a break, big guys, and they've actually gone through big centres, and Ramsey's had to run 30 or 40 metres and jump on their back and pull them to the ground. So, and by himself. So when we say Ramsey doesn't offer much, we might be looking at it from maybe not quite the angle that Hook might be looking at it from. He's there for a reason.
I think everything.
I think he does the job that he's meant to do.
I think Ramsey's got some qualities. I think he's a better fullback than he is a winger. I think he is not big enough to be a winger in the modern game. I think he actually has some really strong positive characteristics, and you guys have highlighted quite a lot of them. My big question mark is that we've got a small fullback that's he's pretty slightly built. And then we've got one of our other wingers is also small and slightly built. I don't know whether we can have both of them in our team. I think we need either a bigger fullback or we need a bigger winger. I don't know that we can keep both of those two in the same team.
Is that purely from a kick return point of view, Donnie?
Yeah, we're starting our sets. We've got to start our sets on the front foot. And I agree with Mick. I don't understand why Penrith kicked to Ravaloa, because Ravaloa gets it and he gets our sets on the front foot. You kick it to Ramsey, all of a sudden you get down there, chase him, surround him, drag him back. Penrith are on the front foot. We're on the back foot straight away.
Ravaloa isn't available. What does that mean for our
Jesus.
Don't
say that.
I'm just saying, on the flip side, if that's the case, if Ravaloa's out, how much does that affect our game?
Massive.
Moga.
That does us some serious damage, I think, unless we just do a like for like and bring Moga in, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know whether Moga. I think Moga would be the best option in that case. He's not Ravaloa though, is he?
Nah.
I think that's actually an interesting point you raised, Benny, because I think if Rava goes down, we're in big trouble.
He's probably been the most impressive player for me in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
He's a weapon, absolute weapon. And like you said, getting our set off to a good start is so important. And you know what? It's actually what killed us a lot on the flip side on Friday night. Penrith line speed was massive. Their play the ball speed was so quick. They were up in our faces, mainly because they were offside every fucking play. But you know what I mean? Getting your set off to a good start is crucial in the game. And our kickers aren't huge kickers either. They're not big meter kickers. So we've got to make as many meters downfield as we can to put our kickers in a good position to have an attacking play on the last tackle. And if we don't get off to a good start, we're pushing shit uphill. So, yeah, is Ramsey a good option on the other side, or is there a better option?
We don't have a lot of other options other than Rubber. So, you know, if you've already got one on one wing, then it sort of lessens your opportunity to bring in Finau or Moga if something happens to Rubber. So you have the speed guy,
do you think
our only speed guy on the other wing, maybe. I don't know.
Do you think that might have been a tactic from Penrith why they went to Rubber all night to try and tire him out, to shut him down? They went to Rubber all night.
Yeah, that's a
anybody with half a brain would not
that's a
do
good
that.
point.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, look, they did the exact same thing with Saab the week before. They kicked at him pretty much every time, the same way that they did to Ravalawa. You know, tired him out, and I mean that was probably more about sort of taking Tommy Turbo out of it than anything else. But they did the exact same thing with Ravalawa that they did to Saab the week before.
I don't know. I didn't understand the tactic from Penrith to kick long to him and give him room to move. That seemed dumb to me, but yeah, I think there is some merit to kicking to Rubber.
I kept on thinking, why the hell, even though Ramsey's got better at the bombs, he's a lighter frame guy. You run down and smash the hell out of Ramsey, but they kept running down and smashing the hell out of Ravalawa. And I didn't think about it at the time until Betty actually said it now. I was there the whole game. He took about 9 bombs or something. I thought, why are they kicking to him? He's not dropping it. And then Ravalawa was launching himself at these guys. But it only occurred to me now when Benny said it. They are trying to take the bloody energy out of Ravalawa. That's why they're kicking to. They're not worried about Ramsey's energy because he hasn't got any. You smashed Ramsey a couple of times, he's gone. You smash Ravalawa, you need to hit him with a sledgehammer. So they must be kicking to him and bashing him and trying to knock him down, and he's just too bloody big. But that's actually why, Benny, you've actually hit the nail on the head, mate. They're kicking it to Ravalawa, not because he catches it. I keep thinking they're kicking it to him, hoping he's going to drop it. That's not why they're kicking it to him. They're kicking it to him to bloody bash the hell out of him when they get down there.
The other big news out of the game is the injury to Andrew McCulloch. Now, initially, it was feared that he'd be out for 6 to 8 weeks, but now they're saying 1 to 2 weeks with a very small chance he could be available for Thursday night. Still, with no other specialist dummy halves in our top 30, what would you do with a dummy half role while Evan McCulloch is out, Tony?
Oh, look, Dragons look good with Mumbai at number 9. It was more go forward than we had with McCulloch in that last game. I thought he played well. And if Bud's right, put him on the bench, 14, interchange him and... No,
he's still another week away, they reckon.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Mbai's the only choice we've got. And Moose.
Well, he's suspended.
He's not available.
No.
He's not available. So Mbai's our only option.
Well, I'll put a bit of a left field one. Connor Mulhyson, there's still one spot left in the top 30, played 80 minutes.
I was gonna say that, but then you said our top 30 was full, and I thought, no, we can't have him then.
Well, no, we've only got 29. Left. There's one spot left. He made 50 tackles with only 2 missed tackles. Played 80 minutes. Played 80 minutes in reserve. Yeah. Like we got flogged, we got lapped in reserve grade, but played 80 minutes in reserve grade at 9. Made 50 tackles, only missed 2. He had 3 runs for 30 metres as well, so over 10 metres every time he ran the ball. 3 runs, probably not a lot, but given we got beat by 50, is he an option, even though he hasn't played a lot of senior footy?
Do you want to use that number 30 spot after round 2?
Yep.
You might need to use it further down the track.
What are we going to use it for? We're going to use it for surely we're going to use it for another 9, aren't we? That's where we're weak.
Yeah.
There's no depth there.
Yeah. Is it good to keep just in case you have a major injury down the track? He's only going to be out for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, that's the question, isn't it?
If he was out for 10 to 12 to 14 to 16 weeks, maybe you do bring Connor Mulhyson in. But I think we use the 29, use Mbai number 9.
Yeah, but
maybe give it.
Is Mulhyson a dedicated 9, or is he flexible? Can he cover other positions?
He's a 9. He's a specialist 9. I've never seen him play anywhere else.
You know what? To be honest, that's exactly what we fucking need. 9 is our weakest spot. And no, nothing against McCulloch, but 9 is our weakest spot. We've got depth everywhere else across the field. 9 is our weak spot. So if we're going to bring in somebody, and we alluded to it in the preseason, that if that 30 spot is going to go to anyone, it should be a dedicated number 9. And Mulhausen, he impressed during the trials. If anybody's to take it, it's got to be him. Like, I was talking to somebody within the club just after the McCulloch injury, and the first name that was mentioned was Connors. So obviously people within the inner sanctums of the club were already having that discussion. This is literally 20 minutes after the injury. So it makes sense to me. I don't think it's going to be a bad spot to fill.
I'm a little biased here. Like I've got a real soft spot for Connor. There was a time so he played with Jaden Sullivan, with Junior, with Tyrell Sloan, with the Feagai twins when we won the SG Ball Premiership. So, but he wasn't the superstar of that team. He actually got dropped at one point during that SG Ball season because he had some issues defensively, like he was missing a couple of tackles in around the middle of the ruck. The reason why I have a lot of time for Connor is because that happened at that level, and rather than spitting the chewy out and going, well, I'm going to go and play rugby union, or I'm going to quit rugby league, like a lot of other kids his age would do, he went away, worked hard on it, he got back into the team, won a premiership with them, and now he's making 50 tackles with only 2 missed tackles in a reserve grade game against Penrith, who are probably the best team in the reserve grade comp. So this is a kid that is not afraid of hard work. He's not afraid of going away and working on his game. So, yeah, I've got a hell of a lot of time for him. I do hope he gets a chance. I'd love to see him named in the squad at least on Tuesday.
What I've seen of him in the trials, he's a good player. He's going to be a good number 9.
I'll put this to you as all. Is he a better option than McCulloch at 9 right now?
McCulloch, because of his experience.
Yeah, the experience. I think you've got to. I mean, we've got a lot of inexperience in that spine already, and I think
that's right. Yeah,
McCulloch. I'm not a fan of Andrew McCulloch by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we've got an inexperienced 1. We've got an inexperienced 6. We've got Jaden Sullivan, who's pushing for selection as well, who's going to be, hopefully once he's fit, he's going to be pushing for selection in that spine as well. So there's a lot of inexperience there, and having McCulloch, I think at this stage you probably stick with Andy. But
you say inexperience at first grade level, but that's fine with McCulloch with Mulhausen at 9. That's combos that's proven. Like you said, they played SG Ball together. They know how they play. They know their combos. Like, is that what we need? Are these boys, like we alluded to last season, are these boys our future for the next 5 years? And if they are, do we get them in now? Do we get them working together? Are we building the platform off there? Or are we building the platform off guys like McCulloch and Ben Hunt, who's, towards the end of his career? Are we building the next 5 years off them, or should we be letting the youth build the like what Penrith did?
Well, it's a fair question, but I mean, you talk about combinations, and McCulloch and Hunt have a combination. So, those two work.
Yeah, but you know what?
Together.
I think Mbai and Hunt had a better combination when Mbai come on Friday night. The service was heaps quicker. There was more pep in Ben Hunt's step with Mbai's service. Like, he had more time to work. He had more options to explore. Mbai had options. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want – it's sort of feeling like Hook is going very dinosaur age with a lot of the decisions he's making. Last year was the same. Like, why the fuck would you leave Corey Norman in, who's not performing, hasn't performed, and is not going to fucking perform, to see out the rest of the season when we've got young guys that are keen and fit and ready to do magic shit sitting on the sideline?
Corey Norman's all about money. They're paying him $800,000 a season. I'm not going to play him in reserve grade.
Yeah, but if your fans don't go and buy memberships next year, you're fucking 800 fucking thousand. It's like a pisser anyway.
Yeah, $800,000 is
You've got
nothing.
you've
It's got,
got
like, that's a piss poor. That is a piss poor reason to pick a player because you're paying him a lot of money. Because what he can cost you with poor performances far exceeds what you're paying him. So put him in reserve grade if he's not good enough. I don't think that's the reason why he got picked. I think he got picked for exactly the same reasons, like exactly the same reasons we're having this discussion about Andrew McCulloch now. He got picked because he's experienced. Like Corey Norman got dropped. He got dropped from the team and they had him playing out in the centres or on the bench. He was on the outer and then Ben Hunt gets injured. And they're like, well, we want somebody with experience in the half. So that's the reason why Corey Norman kept getting picked. It's not because he was a favourite. He was on the outer. Like if Ben Hunt had been fit, Corey Norman wouldn't have played the last couple of games of the season. It was all to do with having that experience in the team around the kids. And I don't know whether Corey Norman is exactly the kind of experience you want, but
well, he just lost go forward towards the end there. He wasn't even trying. And when he did try, he looked good, but it was only few and far between.
We've only got to look what's happened since. Like the fact that he has, for all intents and purposes, retired. Like he's not even having a crack. Like he could have gone over to England, earned some good money. He just doesn't give a shit. He doesn't want to play. He doesn't care.
Oh, he's got his clothing. He's got his clothing label now. That's all he needs.
Oh, he makes a bit of coin out of that too. So good luck to him. But yeah.
The thing, but just getting onto this Mbai thing, I think when Mbai came on, I agree. The service is quicker. He's a bigger body. Mbai is actually quite a big guy. When you're up close to him, you go, shit, he's actually bigger than you think. So, but he seemed to have pretty good service. So I actually think Mbai, for me, if you have to put this other guy, you're talking about this Connors guy, I can't comment. It's usual for me. I don't know the reserve grade guys from Adam. So I can't say what he's like or would he be any good. But like Benny said, the fact that this Connors guy has won was a Jersey Flag Premiership, was it? So these other boys, SG, yeah. So he's played with Sloan and Sullivan and all these boys. So maybe you do bring him in. Okay, it's not first grade, but he's got to play first grade sometime. So maybe now is the good time to bring him in and see if you can get those combinations working in first grade. But then what do you do with Mbai? You know,
he stays at 14 and be's the utility player that he is.
Yeah.
So I don't even mind Tauto Moga on the wing. Moga, I think, is a choice if one of those wingers gets injured because Tauto Moga's a pretty decent player.
I think the determining question is, does Mbai have 80 minutes in him?
Yeah, so that's my question. I think Mbai starts, and if I was going to play Connor, I'd be playing him off the bench and give Mbai a 20-minute breather. So I think that would. I think Moses Mbai is the 9 this. For Thursday night's game, that'd be my choice. But I think there's at least got to be considered whether Connor can jump in as the bench utility rather than I think the bench utility spot probably goes to Matt Feeney with no Jaden Sullivan available, and Matt picked up a bit of an ankle issue during the reserve grade game as well. So there's question marks on whether that's a good option. So I think there's a few things for Hook to weigh up, and I think that's going to be a huge one in terms of. I think Mbai gets the 9, but it's who plays that 14 role, or do you go with 4 forwards on the bench, which is pretty risky.
You can't really have 4 forwards on the bench. I think you need to have one back.
Not in the age of concussion, mate. You've got to have a utility on the bench.
Well,
you're always going to have a concussion at some stage.
I'm actually glad Maguire is not available, to be honest.
Anyway, boys, we need at least a third video here, and we're going to cut this one. There's about a minute left before we get booted off, but the next topic, I think it's going to piss all of yous off, the way that I frame this next question. So it's worth sticking around for. We'll take a break here at the Mad Dragons vodcast, and I'll be back in just a minute to piss everyone off. Tune in.